Yeah, ahead of the first Ashes series in a few decades against Australia, the Australian Kangaroos, England Rugby League recently posted this quick training clip on their social media profiles. So I thought I'd give it a quick analysis, see if we can unpick some of what's going on here. Led by Shaun Wane, the England head coach, kind of known for his putting a lot of value on physicality, aggression in the collision, and all sorts of things like that. Kind of some of the key ingredients you need for when it comes to international rugby league, I think, because you're dealing with already very competent players. You don't need to do too much game plan. It's more about motivation, getting them up for it, and making them understand what it means to represent the jersey and put the England badge on their chest. Let's get into it. So just first of all, going straight to the start here. So even from the get-go, we see Shaun Wane, the head coach, say, "Let's go." And so what we can see in the background is the players pummeling. So there's plenty of videos on YouTube of how to do good pummeling technique, but it's kind of taken from grappling, jiu-jitsu, mixed martial arts, but really popularized in rugby league. I'd say it's like a fundamental warm-up routine before contact, obviously like super relevant for finding your underhooks and overhooks in contact to control your opponent. This will be pretty early in the session where we see him walking along and saying "let's go," and they're pummeling in the background. "Let's go" could mean one of two things. One, he's not really happy with the intensity so far, or they're getting warmed up and he wants them to up the intensity. So he's saying, "Let's go, let's up the intensity here. Let's get a bit more impact, get a little bit more fight in the pummel." Or it could be what you'll often see is they start as a pummel. So they're swimming, going underhook, overhook, where each one has one of each. And he's going to say, "Let's go." And then what you might do is transition to finding double underhooks, fight for position, or double overhooks, or just try and fight to kind of break the posture or something like that. So a pummel where you're kind of working against but with each other at the same time can, on a whistle or the coach's go, can suddenly become competitive, an actual wrestle for position. So let's carry on watching. So that's interesting. So obviously we've got a very no-nonsense collision there from Morgan Smithies, Canberra Raiders player, and Kai Pearce-Paul. What you see immediately in this is that the players are saying, "I'm ball, I'm ball, I'm ball." And they're repeating that. So it looks like Smithies. So the ball carrier's got the ball in the right hand. Smithies is the kind of tackler on his left side. Morgan Smithies is left side. So his job really is to wrap up the ball. He's the side that the ball carrier's got the ball in that arm. So he needs to lock up the ball, control it. Super important in rugby league. That we control the ball, stop offloads. Obviously, we're in a sport where the defence has to retreat 10 metres. An offload, especially late in that process where the defence has already gone back or is starting to go back, is really, really damaging. But also we can start to use the ball to control the torso of the ball carrier and get him onto his back, which is crucial in rugby league. The second guy, so that's Kai Pearce-Paul there, the taller guy. What he's going to be doing is control. So he wants to make it uncomfortable for the ball carrier. He wants to kind of do anything he can to break his posture, to take away his fight in the tackle, to make it easier to control him onto his back. What you'll also notice from both players here is that they're not just going, hands flat on the back. They're looking for hooks. So that pummel is super relevant there, where we're looking for underhooks and overhooks. They're looking for anything that can get a real piece of the ball carrier to properly control his body. If you're not familiar with rugby league, you watch more maybe rugby union. This is the kind of tackle height that we're working at a lot of the time in rugby league. We don't have the same tackle height laws in rugby league. We really need to make a lot of upper body contacts in rugby league. And then just at the bottom of the picture, we see the third man, the third defender there. So once two defenders are in the tackle, this is what's called a three-man tackle. So the third man will often come in on the lower body. So in this instance, he's come around the legs. So you imagine the legs are disabled by the third tackler. It's going to make it, in theory, super easy for those two up top to control him, slow death him, which is what we call for controlling the descent to ground, slow death him down to the ground, get him on his back, and then they peel out. So that guy who's on the legs, he's the last in, and he's the first out of the tackle. So he'll make the retreat back to the defensive line. Then we've got Kai Pearce-Paul, who's in control. He'll go to second marker, and then the very last man, Morgan Smithies, who's locked up the ball, is going to go to first marker, and those two will make the two markers. Obviously can't do is play the ball without the ball, so that's why we need the guy who's kind of in control with the ball. He's the last one at the tackle. This is something we call a peel. So legsman goes back, second marker gets into place, and then the guy who's in control of the ball, he's first up. So that's why that "I'm ball" call is super important at the first of that tackle. We see it again. So this time Smithies is the ball carrier. So again, we've got "I'm ball," and you can see they've got their heads really stuck in, and the heads and hips in close is going to reduce the space, reduce the movement, reduce the daylight of the ball carrier there, and take away their fight. We don't want them wriggling around. We don't want them getting offloads away. We don't want them able to create space with the defense. So that's why they're sticking their heads in, again, looking for hooks and levers, looking to get hold of a tricep and elbow, anything they can to control the ball. And you'll notice even there it says in the subtitles, he said "I'm ball" 4 times. So that needs to be super clear to the other defenders in the tackle who's on the ball, and also to the defenders. So once they know that the ball is under control, there's no more risk, those defenders can start thinking about their retreat back to be in line with the referee, so 10 metres back. So again, just another contact here. So this looks more like a two-man tackle, so we're losing that third defender in there. We're not going to have that legs man to come in to really disable the legs, and so that makes it easier for the two up top. There's also a lot of two-man tackles in rugby league as well, so and you can't always rely on there being a third tackler to come in on the tackle. So that's why sometimes you'll see, often you'll see them working two-man tackles, especially for the guys on the outside. Wings, centres, second rows probably make a lot more two-man tackles than three-man tackles. So you need to be able to get a guy on his back or get him down to the ground with two tacklers, not just three. And remember in rugby league, like the defence is back 10 metres, kind of a lot of momentum is with the attacking ball carrier. So that's why we like to put numbers in the tackle and really slow the play of the ball, slow the ruck down. Interesting position. So the ball carrier is actually turned in contact here. This happens a lot as well, especially when they're looking for offloads. And it actually looks like, I think it's Kai Pearce-Paul has the ball there. He's kind of a real rangy, got long limbs. It kind of looks like he's actively trying to get an arm free for an offload. So this is challenging the defenders. Make sure while you're trying to get into ground, you've got control of that ball, you've got control of the ball carrying arms, and he's not going to be able to get an offload away. Crucially for Callum Watkins, who's on the back side of the player there, as they get him to ground, what they want to avoid is a crusher tackle, which can be heavily penalised for now. So what they don't want to do is have Callum Watkins there putting his pressure on the back, putting his weight on the back of the ball carrier's head like that. That's going to be a penalty straight away. So as you descend, as you again slow death them to the ground, we want to be making a little hole almost for the head to go through, and then those two tacklers in theory are going to end up on top of the ball carrier, nice and heavy, kind of like a stack of crepes, stack of pancakes, and then they're going to do that peel out that I mentioned before. Yeah, he's trying to get his arm free for an offload. Shaun Wane whistling to change the ball carriers, so everyone's getting a go. So this is an interesting drill. So this looks like they're doing a double defending drill. So it looks like there's two tackle shields and the tacklers are kind of a little bit offset. They're probably not directly in the middle of the two ball carriers, two shield carriers. They're probably a little bit offset, and it looks kind of like, I'm just going to play it forward, it looks kind of like they're reacting to some kind of external cue here. So that could be as simple as a point. So they've got eyes up, they're looking at a point to which shield they should be tackling, or it could even be that there's a pass behind the shields. So it could be that there's a pass gone left or a pass gone right, and that's the cue to kind of get up and tackle the shield. What we're looking at here is, you might notice in the posture, so let's look at Owen Trout's tackle. So we look there. He's got the elbows in nice and tight. He's got his hands up. We call that boxer hands. That's going to allow him to really stick in the tackle straight away, straight after the contact. So we can make a nice contact, because our hands are already in place. We just kind of put them into our pockets at the moment of contact, and then they're there, ready to shoot, ready to find those grips that we're talking about. It also means if the ball carrier does throw out a fend, hand off, a stiff arm, whatever you want to call it, hands are there. We can bat it away and kind of change our level, make the tackle. And again, just roll through. So again, you'll see that they're looking for grips. Just as we see Mike McMeekin, his right hand is gone to the tricep of the ball carrier, of the shield carrier there, and his left hand has gone into the lower back. So really what he's trying to do is compromise his position, make sure that ball's locked up. If you can kind of put them up on their toes, make them up high, kind of break their posture a little bit, it's going to make it hard for them to get offloads away. It's going to make it hard for them to go to ground, find their front, as we call it, and get a quick play of the ball. Still reacting, still doing this double defending drill. Seeing a lot of boxer hands up close to the contact, shortening the steps before contact. That's going to allow us to react to a ball carrier's movement. Also, what you'll probably notice is as they're moving across, so there's John Bateman moving across, what we're really looking for is to keeping shoulders and hips square downfield, so north, south. We're not looking for them just because they've made a lateral movement. We don't want to be turning our hips too far east, west, because that's going to get you beaten on inside and outside shoulders. So as we're moving, we're staying kind of north, south, hips are staying square, and that's the kind of good quality of movement we want. What you really want is, even after we've made that lateral movement, we really want the body in front. So a good way of coaching that is, like, even if you are making that lateral movement, try and kind of cut the ball carrier in half with your foot. So get that foot in as close as possible. If the foot's in as close as possible, your body's going to be in the collision. What you don't want to see is kind of making a lateral movement across and then, reaching out with arms. Arms aren't going to make a tackle. We want body in the collision. And obviously Shaun Wane or somebody is happy with the contact there. Another one, whistle. And then, it looks like that's all we see from this session. But I hope that was useful. Just a little insight into some of the drills that were running there, and some drills that you can really easily implement, in your team, whether it's rugby league, rugby union, even American football, any kind of contact sport. I think there's some crossover there.